Hello and welcome to the premiere of Best in Boxing Before the Bell. I'm your host, Courtney Perna, coming to you live from Las Vegas. We've got a great pre-show for you right now and a great 8-fight card over in Tijuana that'll kick off in just about an hour. But before the fighters step into the ring, I've got live interviews coming up with main event and co-main event fighters like Giovanni Gonzalez and Damian Sosa. You'll also hear from Manuel Jaimes, Marco Arroyo III, and James Jones III. Plus, Best in Boxing founder Armando Moreno will join us, and I may just bring in a surprise guest a little later to talk shop. Before we dive into all that, I'd like to take a moment to thank our partners for tonight's fights. I'm talking about Toscano Boxing Promotions. They're out of Stockton, California. Now, if you know Toscano, and if you know Best in Boxing for that matter, you know we're not about cherry-picking fights or padding resumes around here. We want good, even fights, and that's what you're gonna get. Since it's all about the bouts, here's a little preview. So Best in Boxing, always bringing you quality fights from the developmental stages to world champion. And tonight promises to be no different. We've got a crop of talented fighters ready to get back to work inside the ring. But of course, outside it and in everyday life, things are very different for all of us, thanks of course to COVID-19. We recently sat down with newly signed Toscano fighter Giovanni King Gio Gonzalez to get his take.
We're just here in the gym today. It's our last sparring day today. My good friend Andy Vences came out here from the Bay Area, so we're gonna get in some work and just call it our last sparring day and just get ready for the fight. It was a blessing that I was signed with Toscano. I'm glad they saw that I could become something big in boxing, and I'm glad they gave me that chance to show them and to the world that I can do something. Toscano, approached me after my December fight in Mexico. I fought somebody undefeated, 6-0. It was a 10-round fight too. I knocked him out in 6 rounds, I think. That was a tough fight, but they saw that, we had our first fight together, not as a promoter, but just they invited me to their show to fight here in Stockton back in August, and it was a success. So I appreciate them believing in me and helping me get to the next level. What happened is that in order for the commission to approve it, the sanctioning body, which is the WBF, would have to bring in their own supervisors, judges and everything, so that would be like an extra 6 people. So the commission was concerned about that and they didn't want to approve that, so we just we don't have no option pretty much. It's just like we want to fight, so it is what it is. It was frustrating, honestly. You go in a training camp to prepare for 10 rounds for a title shot, but at the same time we're going through crazy times right now, so I understand the commission wants to not let certain people in, so you just got to do what you got to do and just keep on going and keep on training hard. It doesn't and it does, because sometimes fighters feed off people's energy. To me, honestly, I really don't care. It's just it's hard for me to really say how much of a difference it is until I actually experience it. I'm just kind of playing the different scenarios in my head of how it would be, but I just kind of, it's kind of hard to really answer that question until it actually happens. So I don't know, but to me, I'm just, there can be a million people or 2 people. At the end of the day, I'm still going to go in there, go to work, and handle business.
He definitely handles business in the ring, but watch out for King Gio on the Xbox too. I just saw an interview recently with him. He's joining me now live from Tijuana, Giovanni Gonzalez. Hey, I heard that your Xbox skills over the downtime have gotten really good in the video games. You're like killing your kids out there.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Thank you for having me, by the way, but it's actually a PlayStation 4.
PlayStation 4. Oh, sorry about that. I had to get that straight. But you probably haven't been able to work on that PlayStation 4 a lot getting ready for this fight, I imagine.
No. It's absolutely not. Just been focused on this fight, getting ready for work, and just going out and performing.
Now, we heard you just in the video beforehand talking a little bit about not having a crowd there. We also know that your title shot was squashed because of coronavirus. I know that you have a great attitude still. You're going to bring it like this is a title fight still. But how are you feeling? There's got to be a little bit of disappointment there too, though.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very disappointing when they told me. I was actually at the gym hitting the bag, and then, one of my boys told me, like, yo, what's wrong? And then I was like, I don't know nothing's wrong, but, they figured it out. I told them, and then they're like, damn. So, it was a little, disappointing. But at the end of the day, my job is just to go out to perform, if it's for a title or not a title.
That's right, same old fight, because it is the same person. You're taking on an undefeated Ivan Pinto in his hometown tonight. He's a brawler, and he's been known to kind of upset American fighters there. So, what do you expect for tonight?
We have a game plan. We've worked on a game plan for the past couple of months. Well, 2 months or 8 weeks, whatever the case was. We just stick to our game plan and we go to work. If we have to adjust in the middle of the fight, we'll adjust. We're ready for any scenario. We're ready to go to war.
Now, speaking of putting in work, I know that you have seriously upped your game when it comes to strength and conditioning. What do you expect to feel a difference tonight, or do you think that you won't even notice? You'll just, have more power?
Well, I'm gonna have to show you guys during the fight, because I feel stronger. I do feel more wind. It was a really this was my toughest training camp out of my whole boxing career. There was mornings I woke up and then I would lay there, and honestly I didn't want to go, but I had to go. Just being a disciplined fighter. I actually purposely would sleep on the couch the day before conditioning, because it wouldn't be comfortable when I woke up, and I would want to get up. If I'm in the bed, I'm gonna be comfortable, but if I'm on the couch, I'm not gonna be comfortable. So, I did that, and then, shout out to my boy Easy from Toscano Promotions and Fitness Plus in Oakdale for letting me use their gym and letting me, get in shape, in top shape.
Yeah, you just mentioned Toscano. You're a newly signed fighter with them. We already know that they're a great partner for us here at Global Sports Streaming and Best in Boxing. But what do they mean for you and for your career?
They're going to take me to the next level. They saw that. We've known each other for quite some time. We've worked together on a fight before. They saw I'm an exciting fighter, and they saw I have a good amount of people that follow me. And I trust them with them taking me to the next level and doing whoever they want me to fight, I'll fight. It doesn't matter who it is, but I'll fight them.
I love that attitude in boxers. Just bring it on, whoever it is. Now, briefly, you mentioned that this was one of the hardest training camps. Was it because it was Toscano and it was different? Was it because the extra conditioning? Or was it just because you know that you have a great opponent coming up?
A little bit of both. A little bit of all three, actually. Conditioning, opponent, promoter. You want to look good. Be in top shape, and we know who we're fighting. So, at the end of the day, my job is to go out there and perform. I wasn't really used to doing 2 or 3 days, which is, training 3 times a day. So by the time I would get to the last training of my day, I would be a little tired, but I would have to push through it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. I know you're getting prepped for tonight. Thank you for your time and good luck.
Thank you so much for having me.
Again, Giovanni Gonzalez from Stockton, California, taking on undefeated Ivan Pinto tonight. It'll be Ivan's hometown of Tijuana, Mexico. All the fights are streaming live at 7 o'clock over here on the West Coast. That's 10 p.m. on East Coast over on bestinboxing.com and, of course, Fight Hub TV's YouTube page. So we heard a little bit earlier that King Gio talking about fighting without an audience. Of course, that's because of coronavirus precautions. But in the bigger picture, maybe some time off isn't so bad. Here's what some of tonight's other fighters had to say.
I took about maybe a month off, to be honest with you. 3 weeks, a month off. It was good, to be honest with you, because it's a lot of injuries that the body gets to get better from, to recover from, not getting hit in the head and sparring and stuff. You know, you got to let your head recover, and you know, boxing is a 24/7 job. You got to be in shape at all times, and there's not many times where they tell you you can't train, take the 2 months off, no matter what, because you're not going to fight. I mean, it was cool, to be honest with you, but at the same time, I knew that if I got too comfortable, I'd be too comfortable, and then it would be extremely hard to get back in shape. So I got in a couple miles every now and then, ran sit-ups, stuff at home, you know, but no sparring. That was probably one of the longest I haven't sparred, like, in my career. It was like 3 months, I think. It was a long time, so it took me a minute to get my timing back and everything, but, you know.
The Stockton show, that's another one. I had an opponent, everything was ready. Another full-on training camp, sparring, running, dieting, everything I can do. And then this whole epidemic hit, the COVID-19, and put a halt to everything. So after that, it's been a whole year, three full training camps, training in between. And this is hopefully this is the one I'm back.
Through the 5 stages of grief in like 3 hours. I went to disbelieve all of it, all 5 stages. And as I was going through it, I was like, I'm really going through the 5 stages of grief right now, because when I got the call that it was canceled, I didn't believe it. I was like, nah, no way it's canceled, nah. Because I was like, I was hearing it, everybody was hitting me up like a couple days before, or like a week before. They're like, hey, it's gonna be canceled. I asked the promoter, he was like, nah, it's gonna be good. And then when it got canceled, it was just like heartbreaking. It was just like, damn. So just a little setback. You know, it was a little depressing at first for, like, not gonna lie, for a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, maybe even a month. I was like real down in the dumps, because everything was shut down. Everything, like, not only am I not able to fight, I have to, like, everything's closed. No one can do nothing. So then everyone's getting unemployed and all that stuff. So then you're just at home. And then when the fight day came around, I was like, I'm supposed to be fighting today in front of the home team, like in front of everybody. Had to cancel their flights, cancel the hotels. So it was just like, it was really heartbreaking. But once we got back going again, finally, I think like 2 months later, we just got back in the gym finally. Once that started happening, I started working again. So it was just like things went back to normal, and I just look at it as a blessing, you know. Just everything. I feel like everything happens for a reason.
Definitely happens for a reason. And it sounds like a little break could be a blessing. But as you heard, the grief of a canceled fight is real. Tonight, though, no cancellations, a lot of precautions, but it's definitely on. Welcome back to Best in Boxing Before the Bell. I'm Courtney Perna, and I'm so happy to be with you tonight. In about 45 minutes or so, the fights will kick off live over on bestinboxing.com and on Fight Hub's TV YouTube page. Now, one of the fighters you'll see in the main event is Damian Samurai Sosa. He is joining us now with the help of a translator live in Tijuana. Thank you so much for taking time out of your preparations for us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right, now Damian, your hopes of fighting for a title was squashed as well because of coronavirus. How are you feeling and how do you keep motivated?
Sí, pues la verdad, no cambia mucho, ¿no? Igual la pelea va, sí está muy emocionado porque iba a ser por un título, pues entonces estábamos todos muy motivados.
Yeah, he says that it doesn't change too much. He's still the fighter, he's still the same fighter, and it's going to be a good fight, and it's just basically staying positive.
That's right, bring it on, no matter if it's a title or not.
Yeah.
So I know this is your hometown, but there's no crowd here. So do you still feel like you have a little bit of an advantage where you might have before?
¿Sientes que todavía tienes algo de ventaja?
Bueno, pues claro, ¿no? Estoy en casa, eso no deja de ser una buena ventaja. Me siento muy motivado, me siento feliz de estar boxeando nuevamente aquí en mi casa, en Tijuana. Entonces creo que es una buena motivación el estar todavía aquí en casa peleando.
Yeah, he says either way that there's no fans, he's still in his hometown, he's still in his city, and he's ready to fight, he's ready to go.
Now, do you think that it's an advantage or a disadvantage without the crowd? Because you might be able to hear your trainer better, but your opponent can hear your trainer too.
Porque tu entrenador lo vas a poder escuchar mejor, pero también el rival puede escuchar tu entrenador.
Claro, bueno, pues yo creo que el público siempre es una motivación, ¿no? Cuando uno, pues el público le está hablando, pues se motiva más, pero creo que en cuestiones de la esquina, pues vamos a estar oyéndoles más, siento que vamos a estar mucho más concentrados, pues es una nueva experiencia, pero por la cual ya nos preparamos mentalmente para escuchar bien a la esquina.
Says he's very focused, and even if there's no fans, that it definitely is an advantage with the fans. He says, but even without the fans, that he's focusing more on his corner and he's focusing more on this fight. It's just allowed him to be more focused all around.
That's right. And I know that you had some downtime like we all did because of COVID-19. How does it feel to get back to work, get back in the ring, get back into your gym?
Sí, bueno, pues ahora sí que el coronavirus nos afectó a todos, pero bueno, tratamos de mantenernos ahí entrenando un poco en casa para no descuidarnos tanto. Y bien, me siento muy bien preparado, siento que fue buen tiempo para estar en pelea, por la cual vamos a tener en puerta hoy día viernes, entonces pues me siento en óptimas condiciones para la pelea.
Yeah, obviously coronavirus affected everybody, not just him, but it also allowed him, to focus on his fighting training. He stayed active. He's fortunate that he has a personal gym, and he was able to maintain his activity.
Now we know that Angel Beltran is very smart. He's undefeated. He's it's going to be a brawl tonight. So what's your prediction?
Claro, sabemos que es un peleador invicto, un peleador inteligente y técnico, por lo cual estuvimos trabajando bien todos esos aspectos, tratamos de que no se nos fuera ninguno y pues estamos bien preparados para cualquier boxeo que nos quiera proponer el rival.
He says he is a very smart fighter. He has experience and he's undefeated, but they've trained very hard. They trained very. They had, I guess, an extra period of time to train with the COVID because they kept active, and he's ready for any opponent.
Is this your first fight back since taking time off because of COVID, and how are you feeling?
Yeah, después del COVID.
Sí, esta es la primera pelea que voy a tener después del COVID.
That's correct. Yes, it is.
All right. Well, Damian, we are now Instagram friends, so I am following you, and I will keep track of your career.
Ok, gracias. Igual ahí te voy a dar follow también.
He's going to follow you back. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, Damian, I'll let you get focused on the fight for tonight. Thank you so much, both of you, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
So again, tonight it is Damian Samurai Sosa in the main event versus Angel Beltran. It is going to be a good one, and I kind of talked about it in the interview there. If you haven't seen Beltran fight, he likes to fight on the outside. He's very skilled, but both men are going to bring it as if it is the title fight it was supposed to be. That, of course, is before coronavirus came in and ruined it for a lot of us. But we are back, and we are so excited. Here is a little preview of tonight's event. Welcome back to Best in Boxing Before the Bell. If you're just joining us, I'm Courtney Perna. You may have heard me on the podcast Punch Drunk by GSS, where one of my favorite guests to chat boxing with and, of course, to sip cocktails with is this man who's joining me right here. We've got lightweight contender Diego Tu Fuego Magdaleno. What's up, dude?
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm so happy. Now, I understand that congratulations may be in order here, so fill us in.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the last thing I did was, one of the last fights that took place, and now boxing's back in. But yeah, back in Nashville, February 15th was my fight, and I did go to Nashville as the underdog.
Yes.
And I beat a Nashville native.
Right.
And it was just, another exciting fight. It was a lot of pressure on me, but upon winning that fight, I was newly signed to PBC. So
I love that.
it's amazing. It's back in action, and now I realize I've worked with every major promoter out there.
You have?
Oh yes, I've been with Top Rank. I've worked with Golden Boy. I've worked now with Al Heyman and PBC. So I'm definitely I've been around.
You're racking them up. I love that. So yes,
Yeah.
Congratulations, PBC. That is so fantastic. The February 15th fight, you said that the crowd kind of shifted. Like they weren't really behind you at the beginning because, of course, your opponent was
Right.
from Nashville, but you felt a shift. What happened?
Right about the fourth round is when I started hearing the Nashville natives screaming, "Come on, dude, Austin, throw something, do something." It's because at that point I figured him out.
Okay.
And it was just downhill from there. And I started just picking him apart, and you could see the frustration in his eyes, and I picked up on that. Being, a veteran in this sport, I pick up on things like that. And once I saw weakness, I smelled blood.
Yeah.
And I zoomed in. Yeah, I zoomed in and narrowed my sights on him. It was.
It's so hard for me to imagine that because you're such my buddy, and
Yeah.
I just love hanging out with you, and you're such a nice guy that I'm like, but I know that like there's that switch in all
Yes.
fighters when you get in
Yes.
the ring.
Yes.
You're not my sweet little Diego.
Right.
You are not my sweet
you
little
have to
Diego.
know how to adapt and overcome.
That's right. Now, I think you were the last to, really one of the last people to fight before COVID-19 and everything. So you had the crowd, which was great. You just mentioned that it was a big thing. Your brother Jesse, though, was one of the first ones to fight without a crowd.
Right.
So I know that you were kind of involved. You guys are both involved in each other's career. What was
Oh,
that like for
definitely.
him? What was that like for you?
Well, it was a big difference. It was
Mm-hmm.
a big change. But as you get in the ring, once the bell goes, you have to let all that go. What I talked to my brother before his fight is what I said was, you have to look at this as a job.
Mm-hmm.
Go in there, clock in and clock out when you're done. And be done. Go home and rest.
Yeah.
He needed a lot of rest after that fight and how it went down with the low blows.
Mm-hmm.
But I told him, look at it different. You have a son. We both have that in common.
Mm-hmm.
We both have little boys, and we look after. the thing
But
with
were you allowed in the arena?
I was not allowed
Okay.
in the arena.
'Cause I'm sure he
There
has a
was
small number of
separate-
his team.
There was a separate room for us to watch the fight, but I decided to just be at home, comfortable, and watch his fight
the
from home.
fam.
Yes.
And then you can scream as loud
Oh
as you
yes.
want.
Oh yeah, and we sure did.
Now, you fought twice for a world title, and of
Right.
course, we just talked about a lot of athletes tonight had their title shot taken away because of coronavirus precautions and restrictions going in and out of Mexico. How would that make you feel? I mean, they seem to be keeping up a good attitude, but it's the same dude they're fighting, same fight. It's just no title this time. I mean, it's gotta hit you below the belt, so to speak.
It definitely does. It's defeat. There's no other word than defeated. You feel defeated because you've trained so hard, and training camp is just so intense.
Yeah.
You know, to go through a training camp and not fight and not, release everything you've trained for is devastating.
Yeah, now and they say, but you have to turn it around though. You have to get back up there. You still have to fight, so you still got to turn that switch on.
Oh yeah,
even
getting
if-
in there, you have to. It's like a light switch. You have to narrow and zoom in on what's in front of you, what's throwing punches at you.
That's
you
right.
know? Yeah. So
And don't forget about that,
focus.
dude. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about this later on, but I mean, what's happening here with Best in Boxing and Toscano? They're doing such a great job. What does it mean to these fighters at this level to be elevated like this?
I think this is a great platform for them. You know, this is something different. It's something new. And, COVID, take advantage of this because now you have a shot as to be recognized. Now people are looking. Everyone's at home on their phones, zooming in and really focusing
there, yeah.
on these fighters. So take advantage of the time that you do have on camera because it's very important for your career.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You going to stick around?
Oh, yes.
Hang out with me later? All
Sure.
right. Well, thank you. Okay, coming up, we just heard Diego talk about his experience with his brother Jesse's fight during the pandemic. So how do some of tonight's fighters feel about taking swings without the crowd behind them? Let's ask them.
I don't care because I ignore the crowd anyway, honestly. I do my best to ignore the crowd because the crowd will get you knocked out. So I try to ignore the crowd, and I'm so focused. Only voice I'm really listening to is my coaches to hear some instructions. So I don't think it's really gonna affect me. I feel like it's gonna be like sparring. When I spar, it's quiet. So I'm just listening for my coach. So I feel like that's how it's gonna be. It's gonna be, if anything, even less pressure than with the crowd on you. But yeah, just because I just feel like for me, I'm not the type of person to get excited off the crowd or let the crowd get me into doing something stupid. Or I'm there to entertain the crowd, but with how I fight is entertainment enough. I feel like because I'm an action-packed fighter. So luckily for me, I don't really have to do too much to normally entertain the crowd besides what I do. So I just plan on doing what I do in the gym or what I've been doing in my fights, just regular, just gonna be regular, probably even easier. I mean, it's probably gonna be weird walking in the ring and no one's screaming, so like there's kind of like when you put your hand up and do a little thing, that's probably gonna be weird, but I feel like it's gonna be regular.
It doesn't matter to me. It's just as long as I'm getting back in the ring and getting there healthy, come out healthy, everything's good. I'm going for one reason only. I'm gonna go fight, and that's it. That's all I really need to worry about is being healthy, showing up, performing, showing what I've been doing, and that's all it.
It doesn't and it does because sometimes fighters feed off people's energy. To me, honestly, I really don't care. It's hard for me to really say how much of a difference it is until I actually experience it. I'm just playing the different scenarios in my head of how it would be, but I just it's kind of hard to really answer that question until it actually happens. So I don't know, but to me, I'm just, there can be a million people or two people. At the end of the day, I'm still going to go in there, go to work, and handle business.
It'd be cool. I mean, like for the one that was supposed to be here, it'd be cool to have, family and friends there supporting. But I think it won't really make a difference to me, because the audience could mislead you. They could get all loud and get me pumped up and make me get into a brawl that I don't want to be in. And so maybe just hearing my coach will help out.
I think Manuel Jaime said it best. We'll just have to get all loud at home. And they'll be getting loud for another bout on tonight's card. We've got Jose Karma Alvarado versus David Reno Alegria. It should be another brawl in the lightweight division. And coming up, what is Wade Jones III's motivation when stepping through the ropes? We'll just have to hear from him in a minute. Stick around. Best in Boxing Before the Bell is back, and in less than 30 minutes, we've got Wade Jones III out of Stockton, California, taking on Hector Alejandro Hernandez. He's from Guadalajara, Mexico. You can catch all the action live from Tijuana on bestinboxing.com or Fight Hub TV's YouTube page. Now, not too long ago, we caught up with Jones to find out how he's preparing for tonight's fight and how he wants to be remembered in the future.
I'll definitely be legendary. That's how I always say. I'm gonna die a legend from this boxing. So that's the plan. If I reach all my goals, that's what's gonna happen. But I always enjoy, fighting. I think a lot of boxers that start boxing is because they were always either fighting or they always enjoyed fighting. So I enjoyed fighting. I never ran from a fight. I never turned down a fight. So it was always like that. And then once I started watching boxing, I started watching it when I was in Florida. I was living with my father at the time because I was getting in trouble in Stockton. So they said, come over here, let's get you out of trouble, so like that. So I was on lockdown over there. So a lot of the Friday nights, Saturday nights, I was on TV and I was watching it. And I was like, oh, this looks dope. So I became a fan. I got the chance to come home, and they're like, you need to do sports. Stay out of trouble. I didn't want to play football anymore. I'm not good at basketball. So I was like, I want to box. So then, bam, got into boxing, sparred like my 4th day, and it was just up from there.
But he's able to make weight. And the reason why he's able to make weight is because he's always in the gym, always in shape, always. So even if he blows up a little bit, we already know his body, so we know what we got to do and when to do it to get him where he needs to be.
And, I got Lionel in my area. He's a great motivator. He motivates me every day. So with that, I don't feel like as long as I put the work in, like I've been doing, and I stay focused, don't get injured, nothing's going to stop me. So that's how I move. I just make sure every fight I put the work in, it no matter who it is. I'm looking at the bigger picture. I'm not looking at this fight. I could fight a dude 0-20, no power, doesn't know how to punch, but I'm nervous as hell because I got to look good. For the rest of my career, this dude's like, I can't look bad. I can never look bad. So that's why my goal in every fight is to dominate. It don't matter if I knock him out or not. I just want to dominate. I got to show that I'm one of the best in my city. We got a lot of fighters here. So in the 209 area, I got to show I'm one of the best lightweights in the 209 area. And then from there, I want to show I'm the best in Northern California, and just keep going until I can prove that I'm one of the best in the world. So I just want to prove what I already believe. I feel like I'm one of the best. I feel like you can put me in there with anybody, and I'll do good.
Is it just me, or his hits just sound really hard? Jones Hernandez will kick off the card tonight. After that bout, it'll be Tijuana native Hector Rapidito Flores. I love to say that. Rapidito taking on Jesus Flaco Limas. This should be a really good fight too. Jesus has more than 90 amateur fights under his belt, but he is coming off his first loss. Looking to get back on track against Hector, who I'm guessing has plans to keep his undefeated record nice and clean. We'll just have to see tonight. One thing Best in Boxing always delivers is good fights. I think the fans certainly noticed that. But another thing you can't help but notice tonight is an empty arena. There will be no crowd, just fans watching over the internet. But of course, this is all because of restrictions surrounding coronavirus. So we want everyone to stay safe. In fact, it was quite the fight, if you will, to even get this event going, but we did it, and we owe a lot of credit to my next guest. Please welcome George Toscano, of course, Toscano Boxing Promotions. How are you doing, sir?
Good, I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. Now, I just mentioned that it was kind of a fight, so to speak, to get this event off the ground. What kind of regulations and hoops did we have to jump through to get this going?
You know, I kind of think about everything that we had to go through, but maybe it was just stuff that we should have done from the beginning. Maybe we had to sanitize everybody who's coming in the door. We actually purchased over 100 individual sanitizing gels, the little personal gels to give everybody that's walking in. Everybody had to get sprayed down, masks. I mean, it was we had to give COVID testing to all the fighters, corners, everybody who was going to attend the venue, whether judges, commission, whoever was going to be in the building had to be COVID tested. And after the COVID testing, all the fighters and corners were basically quarantined to the rooms, to their hotel.
Yeah, and I know that there was a limit on how many people in the crew. That's why I'm here in Las Vegas and not with you there in Tijuana. I mean, how is everyone's attitude, though, behind the scenes? Like, are we still all, full speed ahead, or is it kind of like, oh, well, it's not the same, there's no crowd? What's the vibe like?
I think everybody's just, more than anything, I think everybody's just anxious. Once the show starts, it might be maybe awkward to the first fight or the first couple rounds, but once they see that people are still getting hit and they're still going to get hit, it's going to get back to normal. It's business as usual. It is a little bit weird with but it is what it is. All the fighters are ready, and we're ready, production's ready, so it's time to get it on.
And I think you and your company have been such a great partner for Global Sports Streaming and Best in Boxing. I just spoke to Diego Magdaleno not too long ago. He's here in studio with me talking about how events like this really elevate the fighters. I mean, what is it that you get out of helping these fighters, and how does it make you feel as a person and as a company to be able to have such a key role in their success?
We're blessed. We're actually the first event in Mexico since COVID hit. So for us to be able to bring boxing back to not just TJ, to all of Mexico, first sanctioned event, it's amazing. It's a great opportunity. And as far as the fighters, we just want to keep them busy. We want to keep them busy, because if a fighter, no matter how good he is, if he's stagnant and he's not active, then that's basically, very detrimental to their career. So, and like I tell everybody, not everything's always about making money and making hundreds of thousands of dollars in TV or in tickets sold. Sometimes to get a business going and to do the right thing, it costs money. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do the right thing for everybody, for the fans, for the sport, for the boxers, for everybody.
Now, of course, a lot of us all of us, I think, across the world had some downtime during COVID. Do you think that was a good thing for some of the boxers to be able to kind of take a break and rest their body?
Well, it all depends, because there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of fighters that they need that activity, and there's a lot of them, that their bodies were pretty beat up and they need it. But one thing I think it definitely did for everybody, I think it definitely brought that hunger back for everybody. So everybody's just ready to go.
I love that. And you guys, I know, are ready to go there. Thank you so much for all of your hard work and for your time leading up to the event. We've got, 20 minutes or so until it all kicks off. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
All right. Coming up, 2 years pro, 3 fights fought, 3 fights canceled. Yeah, it happened to Marco Arroyo III. We'll hear from him coming up. But I can tell you there definitely will be fights tonight, starting in about 20 minutes, as I just mentioned. No fans present. Everything is only online. So what does the future of boxing look like with COVID-19 still lurking? Well, Global Sports Streaming founder Armando Moreno has an idea. His exciting announcement is next.
I have been requested by many to tell just how I knocked out so many of my opponents.
He was the first available superstar.
Ash's Marcellus Clay was going to be Muhammad Ali.
I'm fast, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat.
I'm the biggest in the sport, the biggest draw in the sport. Highest gross in one night. 2 fights, 250 million. You tell me who else gross revenue like that.
These companies have no idea what's coming. Global Sports Streaming will be the #1 broadcasting sports company in the world.
Welcome back to the premiere of Best in Boxing Before the Bell. As you know, sports across the board are adapting to life during a worldwide pandemic. Boxing is no exception. While many promoters and fighters, especially up-and-comers, rely on fans paying to see the fights in person to make money. So, what do you do when COVID-19 restrictions forbid you from even having an audience? We've got Armando Barreno. He has the solution. He's the founder of Global Sports Streaming and Best in Boxing. Right now, he's actually on site in Tijuana at the venue, prepping for tonight's live stream. Hey, Armando, how's it going over there?
It's going good. It's going good. We're all set, ready to go. Commission's here. Fighters are gloved up, so we're set to go.
Well, I know that you're my boss, but you're also my friend. So I'm just glad that you're not slacking off anymore and you're finally back working.
I know. You know what? It was actually nice. What's funny is the fighters were telling me their stories about how they stopped boxing. I actually stopped completely working. I can't remember. Actually, in my adult life, I'd never taken as much time off. It was kind of relaxing. I enjoyed myself, to be honest.
I like that. So tell us the exciting announcement. I'm just going to let you tell us what you're working on, what you're scheming over there.
Yeah, always up to something. No, I've had a lot of promoters and managers reach out to me, and it kind of put everything on fast track for our pay-per-view. So what we have done is the beginning of the pay-per-view system will be up and running. And instead of, so right now, smaller promoters, what they go through is they have their fighters sell tickets for seats. Now what we're going to do is the fighters are going to sell tickets for pay-per-views, which is producing a business model in this COVID age so that smaller promoters can continue to do fights. Instead of relying on live gates, they're going to rely on virtual gates. And so our system will be up and running. We're going to start testing here in July, and it's going to allow smaller promoters and honestly mid-sized promoters, any promoter that's not allowed to have a live gate, which is the majority of the income.
Everybody
if they do not
right now,
have exactly. So we're looking at least every other week doing a pay-per-view, and for those listening to us right now, it's really important to support these fighters because a lot of these fighters do not have promoters, and this is how they make their living. And so this will provide a revenue stream for fighters and promoters to be able to continue to do the sport that they love in lieu of having a crowd there that can pay and buy drinks. This way they can still pay, enjoy the fights, and the fighters can still fight, and the promoters and the fighters can still make money.
And I've said it several times during this show that Best in Boxing, we don't really cherry pick these fights. We want to see a good fight. We're not trying to pad anybody's resume. So I mean, it's not like even when I won't call them out, but like some really big name fighters that make millions and millions of dollars. It was such a boring fight, but these fights are brawls.
Yeah, these are the fights that a lot of fans don't get to see because technology didn't allow for it. But now it's here, and fans of boxing, if you really want to watch two young, hungry fighters going at it, because their managers and promoters are matchmaking these fights, they don't really have a say. It's like they get in, they fight who they fight, and I've seen a lot of comments online from fans who are appreciative of the fact that they get to watch really good fights. And working with boxing promoters like Toscano, Boresteca, they put together cards to help develop these fighters. And that means, especially since they're being broadcast, you want to look good, you want to put on good fights, you want to be entertaining, and so that's why we try to avoid cherry picking.
All right, so you are thinking August it might be up and running?
It will be up and running by August.
Okay.
It will be up and running by August. We're going to do test mid-July, small pay-per-view. We're looking at anywhere from $6 to $10 on the pay-per-view. So really, it's much cheaper than a live gate ticket.
Yeah.
So you can come home, sit back, relax, and watch boxing for a very small amount. And it's not just about it's really about keeping the business of boxing going for the smaller promoters.
And I love that Best in Boxing and Global Sports Streaming is always innovative and pushing the sport ahead. Thank you so much, Armando. I just got to say, get back to work, will you?
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much, Courtney. I appreciate all the work you did on this. Thank you.
No problem. We'll see you soon. And of course, you heard him say GSS and Best in Boxing are looking for promoters to work with on this new pay-per-view platform. If you're interested, you can contact Global Sports Streaming at facebook.com/GS Streaming. So let's see, about 10 minutes to go. That's when the fights will kick off over on bestinboxing.com and Fight Hub TV's YouTube page. Now, if 10 minutes seems like a long time to wait for a fight, try waiting more than a year. Flyweight Marco Arroyo III had to do just that before this last training camp. Take a look.
After the May 4th fight, I entered a fight in with you guys in TJ, what was it, about a month or two after, a month and a half? And then I got an opponent, I made weight, I got there, and somehow the fighters did not show up. So I went out there, I just pretty much made weight, I started eating again. So I went through that full training camp, was another 6 to 8 weeks. From there it was, I believe it was Fresno, another back on ESPN with Top Rank at the Grizzly Stadium, Fresno, California. Same thing, had an opponent, made weight, another 112. I went through a full training camp, sparring, training, running, everything again, full on. Something happened the day or 2 days before weigh-ins. The opponent got hurt, pulled out. So that's another one. They couldn't find a replacement in time. So it's another full training camp I went to. Then after that, the Toscano show. Shout out Toscano. The Stockton show, that's another one. I had an opponent, everything was ready. Another full-on training camp, sparring, running, dieting, everything I can do. And then this whole epidemic hit, the COVID-19, and put a halt to everything. So after that, it's been a whole year, three full training camps, training between. I thought that I got back, I've been frustrated, I've been this and that and the other, but what I feel like, everything does happen for a reason. I feel like I'm a whole better developed fighter than my last fight a year ago. I feel like I've slowed down a lot, I've relaxed, I've practiced the things I might have looked over. Me and my dad he's been really tough on me this last year. The sparring's been more intense, just the pad work, the bag drills, things that I just feel like maybe it was a good thing I took this time off and never stopped training. So this time I step in the ring, this time you can see a whole different fighter than I was last year. The first fight as a professional, I went out there just punching, just trying to get something out of there. That went through. I feel like my second fight, a few months later, I developed, I got to sit down, relax, and feel the whole 3 minutes, feel the whole everything. I let my hands go a little more. I developed in the May 4th fight. I feel like I really did let my hands go. Made a few mistakes, but I feel like even though with the outcome what it was, I feel like I did get better than my second fight. I let my hands go a lot. I kept the pace up, and I feel like I'm just gonna get better. These 3 fights, I feel like I've got better every time. First, second, third, and I feel like I'm gonna show it again on the 4th. Within 5 years, I want to fight for a world title for myself. That's something I've set, a personal goal for myself. Within 5 years, I would really love to do that. But other than that, I would just like to keep fighting. I want to stay active, a lot more active than I've been. I want to keep getting these wins under my belt, just grow as a fighter, get a lot more fans, be known a lot more, and just overall, just no matter who you ask, just that kid can fight.
That kid can fight, that's for sure. Sounds like Arroyo is well prepared for his swing bout tonight versus Juan Gomez Torres. That's in the flyweight division. Arroyo eager to get his career back on track, and you heard him say his goal is to fight for a world title in his first 5 years. He's got big dreams, but tonight, Gomez Torres standing in the way. We look forward to watching both fighters develop in the ring and right here on Best in Boxing. Now, the other swing fight tonight is between 2 undefeated lightweights. We've got Daniel Diaz out of Las Vegas, baby, where I am right now, and Jorge Garcia fighting in his hometown of Tijuana. Someone's got to go, and the difference could be in their amateur backgrounds. Ray started fighting at 6 years old, while Jorge was 19 when he started. The live stream will kick off in about 6 or so minutes. But back with me is newly signed PBC fighter Diego Magdaleno. Can you imagine 3 training fights, no fights? Or three training camps,
Yes,
no fights.
Yes, training camps are intense and they take a lot out of a fighter. He's got youth on his side, definitely, so he can definitely bounce back.
Which is more than you and I can say.
Oh, yeah.
I know, you're still a lot better than me.
But yeah, it's devastating to a fighter and their mental game. Going into a letdown back after back 3 times in a row is just got to be something crazy for him to even go after. But I am, facing another similar thing where I'm going into a world title contender fight.
Is this breaking news?
This is breaking news.
I love that he always, you wait to be on my show to share this breaking news. I love it.
There's no other way to do it.
Right here, of course, on the best in boxing before the bell. Breaking news from Diego Magdaleno.
Oh, yes. So, I mean, you have to always be prepared, be prepared and be focused. And
so your next fight,
my next fight will be a WBA interim title to get me as a contender for a world title.
Oh, okay then. I have fancy guests, so does that change the way that you go into this training camp? What does it change, or does it change anything?
It does. It changes everything completely. I mean, I've sat down and had a one-on-one talk with my best friend and coach, Bones Adams.
Yeah.
And we went over a game plan, and we mapped out every week of training camp. That's how detailed it gets. It's homework. We're sitting there, watching tapes on, not tapes now, right? But video on.
See, that was it. That was us, like, showing our age. We put the tape into the VCR and we watched it. My dad had a camcorder at the fight.
So we're doing our homework, and it's that more intense going into a bigger fight that way.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of hoping that you were going to retire soon, so you could be like my partner in crime.
I am getting there because I do have hopes, dreams, and wishes to be alongside.
Well, I'm your trainer in television. Yes, that's for sure. Thank you so much. We'll be right back with you, Diego. But still to come, he started boxing when he was 8 years old, while Manuel Jaime says even at a young age, the amateurs, not for him. Best in boxing before the bell. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We've got just a little bit of time left in tonight's Best in Boxing Before the Bell pre-show. So let's check in with Manuel Jaime to find out what motivates him even through the tough times.
When I started boxing, I was 8 years old. After the second time I played soccer, I was probably like 12. And then I played for like a little bit, and then I wasn't doing anything, and then my dad said that, he's like, oh, you got to do something, and so then we went back to the gym, and then that's when I started like competing again, amateurs, and so then after that, I started, getting a lot of fights and stuff, and then I just stuck to it, and then I thought, I could do this for a while. Go sparring and stuff, people say, it's going to look real good in the pros. And so that kind of just, got us thinking, and time got closer, and we're just like, yeah, for sure, let's do it. I was going to national tournaments. My first national tournament, I was like 13. I went to Silver Gloves in Missouri. And so after that, we just kept looking for the next tournament, and we just kept going, kept traveling. And so then, I was like, I'm at a level where, I'm competing with, the top kids in the country, and then it's been like that since I was like 13. It's just the amateurs. We didn't really like it. I don't know if it was just my style that wasn't clicking in the amateurs. We'd go to national tournaments all the time, and I'd always just get knocked out in the first couple rounds. So, not knocked out, but I mean, like they'd, get out of the tournament. I was not stopped or anything. Just clear that up real quick. Yeah, but yeah, and so finally we were just like, I'm almost 18. We might as well just make that leap. I feel like I got a lot of, like experience, even if it's little and stuff, there's little things that, you just know now that you learned when you were smaller growing up. It's like second nature to me pretty much at this point. Like, boxing so long, it's like, it's all I know really. And so I feel like with other guys, there's things they don't know that I don't know that I know it, but I do just because I've been doing it so long. How happy my dad was when he would take us, and how proud he was telling people that, me and my older brothers were boxing and stuff. He was really happy about it, and it made all my family really happy. So I think that's what it was. It just made me want to stick with it. Want to be remembered. Have kids look up to me like I look up to some fighters. And so I feel like you just picture world titles. That's what people look up to, and so world titles is what I want to see in the future.
And I would say there's a good chance that young man will reach his goal, but tonight is undefeated versus undefeated for lightweights. Manuel Jaimes and Lorenzo Antonio Juarez. The difference in this fight could again be experience. You heard Manuel talking about started fighting at age 8. He has an extensive amateur pedigree, while Lorenzo put on gloves at 22 and may still be learning on the job, so to speak. We will see. I don't know about you, but I am ready. Right now, the fights are kicking off over in Tijuana. The bell should be ringing very soon. We've got Wade Jones III and Hector Alejandro Hernandez. They are kicking off the card. So if you want to see all the action, get over to bestinboxing.com. It's also going to be streaming live on Fight Hub TV's YouTube page. But if you want to hang out with me and my buddy Diego Magdaleno a little bit, we will certainly allow it. We've got a great card tonight. I was just saying, we had Wade Jones III versus Hector Alejandro Hernandez, the first one. Then we've got another Hector Flores coming up against Jesus Limas, Manuel Jaimes, who we just saw, and Lorenzo Antonio Juarez, Jose Alvarado taking on David Alegria. And in the co-main event, it's Giovanni Gonzalez, my new Instagram buddy, versus Ivan Pinto, followed by my other Instagram buddy, the main event, Damian Sosa and Angel Beltran. We've got two great swing bouts, of course, too. Finally giving Marco Arroyo his first fight back in the ring in a year. And he'll face Juan Gomez Torres. And we got Daniel Diaz with Jorge Garcia to wrap up a great night of fights. I mean, you've been looking over this bout sheet here.
Yes.
What do you think? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking at the records. That's just what I do when I overlook
That's what
everything.
you do.
I look at the records. I look at, because the records may be deceiving. There's a fight on here that's 3 wins and 12 losses.
Okay, who's that?
That's
Gomez Torres.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's fighting up a young comer, 2 wins, one loss. He's already saw
Sosa, yeah.
defeat, right? So, this guy Juan Gomez has the experience.
Yes.
And that for a fighter is very, very. It's useful. You can use that to your advantage, and I definitely did that in my last fight.
Right.
And came out victorious. So, like you said, best in boxing, and these guys are putting Toscano boxing, are putting on a real card, because there's nothing that says that this guy's gonna walk through the other guy.
Do you know any of these dudes on here?
I know, Ray Diaz, hometown native.
Okay.
I've worked with him before. Good guy. He's been in the ring with my brother Jesse Magdaleno and giving him some rounds in his training
I wouldn't want to
camps.
be in the ring with any of you. Or your brother. You have another brother, a younger brother too.
I do, Marco Magdaleno.
That's right.
Yes,
Jeez Louise.
yes. And
party at your house on Thanksgiving.
He's a great fighter. He's been off. He's working for the labor union now.
Okay.
So he went that route, but he still has dreams of getting back in the ring.
All right, and getting back in the ring, again, tell us when your fight is, the big fight to make you a contender.
August 22nd, you guys will see me on FS1. Fox Sports, yes, definitely will be, a show. Fireworks will be happening. I know we're just looking at 4th of July, but I am ready. Two Fuegos here and ready.
To fuego. And if you ever get sick of getting hit in the head, you can always join me on my shows here. I love having you as my compadre up here. I love it. So thank you so much again for coming. Thank you everyone for watching. Again, the live stream has started, or it should have started a little bit ago. You can get over to bestinboxing.com or Fight Hub TV's YouTube page to take in all the action. You heard Diego. All these fights are going to be great. From Diego and from everyone at Global Sports Streaming and Best in Boxing, I'm Courtney Perna. Thank you so much for watching our premiere episode of Best in Boxing Before the Bell, and enjoy the fights.